Oh well, what'd you feel about Akudama Drive?
That shit was wild as fuck. I loved it. This was the episode of Danganronpa, like full on insanity. This is what I have been waiting for. And honestly, I'm glad they made me wait. Because if they had like started out the gate with something like this, it wouldn't have hit as well. It wouldn't have hit as hard. But this shit was good. From like and like I'm like a wimp when it comes to gore. And I literally was just like, there's so much body harm happening, and I like to the point where I was like, can I even keep up? Like, are they gonna take out two people as opposed to one? Are we about to lose it? At first, I was like, oh no, they're not gonna lose anybody. I honestly thought that Brawler was gonna walk away from that fight.
I want him to walk away from that fight still. I don't like this.
And you know what? We never will know. But Doctor is literally OP as fuck. I will say, I lost it when when Cutthroat's body flew through the air.
he
And
how
I
did
know
he jumped with the nubs of his legs.
I think he used I don't know. All I know is that shit made me shiver when I was like, did this nigga cut off his leg? This nigga cut off his
I
legs.
thought it was cool how he stabbed through the body of that kid. Like he didn't give
Oh,
a fuck.
and then and that's another thing. So stabbing through the body of the kid, and then Swindler's breakdown. That was
Yeah.
classic Danganronpa right
Oh,
there.
really? Okay, I wouldn't have
That
known.
was yeah, like the focus on the face and just like the despair. I was like, we are back in Hope's Peak High School. Great, cause this bitch is losing it, and I'm losing it with her. What is happening? Why is this happening? So much shit is happening constantly. And they're only fighting one person.
Yeah, I think
Like that was the
I think
wildest
I'm
part.
into this episode more than just the action. Action was great, but I'm now into it because of the lore that they're dropping on this world, and I'm very
Oh my god,
interested.
the underground
Yeah,
shit.
I am very, very interested to know more about what happened between Kansai and Kanto and
Are these
why.
actual children, or are they like constructed
Right. Well,
fetuses
we
or
already
some
know that
shit?
like they have high enough technology where you can like create any food you want out of like reassembling atoms in the air. So I'm not when they stabbed through the kid, I was like, all right, I'm actually
Oh
not
well, his
worried.
sister dropped a hint at the beginning of the episode too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, she did.
She when they
She's like he
fell
doesn't.
off
Yeah,
of the
because he's like
bike.
doesn't matter what happens to him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they fell off the bike and Swindler ran over, she was like, "I'm so glad you okay." And she was like, "It doesn't really matter what." And I was like, "Uh, okay." I was like, I caught that shit, and then of course they stabbed through homeboy. And
Yeah.
I felt like if the sister hadn't said that, I would have thought like way worse of what was going on when he stabbed through him. But because she said that, I was like, nah. Ain't no fucking way. But
Right.
also, there is a fucking way because of Danganronpa.
Well,
So I
one of
was
the
just
things
like,
that
oof.
really I liked about this episode is that they did something I assumed they would probably talk like some character was going to give a speech at some point in this series when they were going to say like the difference between the executioners and the Akudama is something very minuscule. Right? Like I knew that was going someone was going to make that speech or say something
Yeah.
like that. So the way that they stuck that into the explanation of their little like buddy system was cute. It if you really play it out, like it actually kind of makes no sense. But in the context of the show as it's going right now, it's like cool because like, basically, if you had like super cops and they could do what these people are doing, there are a lot of other things you could do to like keep the casualty rate down than just like that plan of having masters and subordinates because in a weird way like that they're just like justifying a part of Japanese society that exists, like the whole kohai system. um like that's cute for a Japanese person to like to have
Yeah.
that in your story, like, oh, here's a reason why this thing you're very familiar with in our society exists in this other society with these crazy psychopathic like super killers. But like leaving that aside, not a big deal for me at all. I just was happy that they went down that road. I did not want Brawler to die at all. Zero zilch. I wouldn't say he is. Well, maybe he is. He's among my favorite characters because of his interactions that he has with everybody else. I think like it's a classic thing to do in a show like this, where you're gonna start killing people off, where you kill off like the most earnest, direct character first, because in a way they're the most innocent, even though that dude was a psychopath. But I'm gonna miss the interactions that he had with the whole cast, including, what was the other guy's name? Scoundrel or something like that, or
not Hustler. Yeah,
Hustler. Yeah, with Hustler,
yeah.
and then that tease that he took out Homegirl's eye, like.
So that shit. Oh man, I have to say that like the art direction for the episode was flawless.
Oh, it looked great.
Like,
yeah.
When they were fighting and like the theme park was like coming back on like intermittently in the background, I was like, this is some cool ass shit. But then also the scene with the executioner and the rain and his pool of blood and the rain like falling inside the pool of blood. I was like, why does this look so pretty? I was like, what the fuck is this? And then in that moment when she was just staring at his body and the rain was going down her face and it like combined with the tear, and it was just like, there was no music, there was nothing. It was literally just like the sound of the rain and the picture, and I was like, this is some good shit. This is some good shit right here. Like,
I mean, there was just good cinematography.
Yes.
That's really what it comes down to. It's not anything. It's funny, when you think about all the series that drop in a season, how many hours of television ultimately you're looking at, and a lot of it is constructed in a very, I don't know, flat might be a strange term to use for a 2D medium, but there's a concept, at least in filmmaking, of like the eye of the camera, right? And so in some shows they treat the view that we have, what they're drawing, what's in frame, as if it's a camera lens, and in others they don't. And you can tell when there's a director, the person who's really setting up, okay, we want this scene to be framed in this way and look like this, when they've got the eye of the camera in their own head, and when they don't. I compare this to when you go and watch like a Hollywood movie that you paid like good adult money to go see, and then there's like some conversation between two characters in a room, and it's just shot, reverse shot, shot, reverse shot, shot, reverse shot. It's like the most, like, I won't say boring is not the right word. It's just the most like banal, uninteresting, and flat way that you could have framed a scene of exposition. Is like you're looking at the, one character's face and another, and the same goes for like big framing, scenes where you want like the lightning flashing and the rain coming down. You can make that look really good by doing creative stuff, or you can shoot it very flat and very boring. And so consistently, Akudama goes either way at least one time an episode to have either an establishing shot or something in the episode that feels like you've pulled back the camera and you're seeing something framed in a very deliberate way. Colors in certain places built. Like I remember it was episode 2, I think it was episode 2, where they have the hotel that they're in, and there's a shot that they do from the ground level where all the police are outside and the executioners look up, and they shoot it looking up at the hotel, but from
the police's view.
From the police's view, but it's actually, if you look at the scene, it's shot from lower than their view. It's shot from like their feet, as if it's looking up. So you see the hotel towering over everything else, and then you've got like the train car like spot like lodged in the middle, and it's on the left side of the panel, I think. And it's just such a, like, it's meant to feel big and imposing and iconic, and everything in Akudama is like overblown. Like remember there's a scene in this episode where you see Hustler running after Brawler, and they've been separated, and Brawler's kind of having that fight in that arcade casino area that he turns on by punching the ground.
Building,
and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The building is off in the corner of the shot, and then you just see it explode at the top and crumble. Right, like it's so over the top, it makes no sense. But it's shot as if it's very, very far away, and this is happening, and the scale of the world and even the space of the fight is so blown up. It's like Superman fighting. Like this guy, they knocked down a whole building with their, they're brawling out that hard, which is insane on one level, but it like, and probably it's more of an it's like a visual exaggeration rather than we're supposed to believe that like Brawler ripped out the foundations of a whole building. Like, no, probably not. But like, still, it's there. It happened visually, so it just, it's just rule of cool shit and framing of shots in a very like cinematic way, and the colors and the music and the emotional stuff. Like when we're done, I'm sure we'll be able to look back and say this was silly, this was silly, this was silly. But like in the midst of it, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Agreed.